Do you know how the hint systems work at Ancestry? Do you have more than one tree? Well, I had questions from some of you as well as a few of my own, so I went to the source. Joining me today is corporate genealogist at Ancestry, Crista Cowan. Now, you've seen her here before. She's excellent at helping us understand how the Ancestry system works and how we can get the most out of it. She's also known as the Barefoot Genealogist. Here she is, Crista Cowan. I've heard you say in the past that you guys at Ancestry recommend one tree instead of many. And I have talked to some of the Genealogy TV viewers who have 20 different trees. And it's like, I'm a big advocate of one tree as well. But then somebody else said, well, why? So I'm asking you, why? Why one tree?
Why one tree? That's a great question. So I have, if anybody was to look at my account, they would see that I actually have lots of trees, but I only have one tree that is my family. And there's two main reasons why I chose that route. The first one was I wanted one place to be able to see all of my ancestry. Right? I didn't want to have to cobble together 2 or 4 different trees based on how I'd split them in order to get this clear picture of my ancestors. The second main reason is that most people, even when they think that their parents are in no way related, will discover once they get back far enough that while their parents might not be related, some of those lines of aunts and uncles and cousins did intermarry. And I don't want to have to be doing double research or trying to go back and forth between 2 trees when I can really clearly see that in one tree. So those were my 2 main reasons originally for having one tree. Now there's a third reason because of DNA, which is that a DNA test can only be attached to one tree. And that is a decision that Ancestry made intentionally because we want your matches to be able to see your whole tree so they can figure out where they connect. And so that's kind of how that works for me. Now, those other trees on my account, I have one tree that is a private, unsearchable tree that I use as kind of my sandbox to play around with theories or start to build trees of my DNA matches to figure things out. And then I have other trees that are trees I've started for other people or various research I'm interested in.
I did an episode recently on creating floating trees, how to create a tree within a tree. And that spawned a lot of questions about the ability to merge trees. You cannot merge trees at Ancestry, can you?
On Ancestry, you cannot merge trees. However, there are 2 software programs that fully sync with Ancestry. That's Family Tree Maker and Roots Magic. And both of those have the ability to merge trees. So if you're using either one of those software programs, keeping your trees in sync on Ancestry, you can merge them and then re-upload them.
That is fantastic. Good to know. One of my reasons too that I'm always telling people to keep one tree is because if you've got 2 different trees and you're keeping similar information in both trees, and then somebody contacts you and says, "Hey, I see that you've got information about XYZ," and you go, "Oh, what tree was that? Oh, yeah, okay, wait a minute, let me go. No, I don't update that tree anymore. I use this other tree." So it's just, some people have trees for every line in their family, and I just personally don't understand it. But
yeah, you know what? There's an interesting statistic. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but less than 10% of Ancestry users have more than one tree. And so it never occurs to most people when they're sending a message like that you might have multiple trees.
Yeah. Well, speaking of trees, let me ask you this. Okay, we've talked about this before about using little symbols and stuff like in the suffix field. And I have talked about that too, because as long as the name is not too long in the tree view, those little symbols will show in the tree view. And I know that we have now tree tags, which I love. Is there any chance in the future that tree tags might be visible on the tree view as opposed to the profile view?
So currently, MyTreeTags are visible in the tree view with a click. So
Yeah.
you can click on the person, it pops up the card and it will show you. We are working on, we're actually doing user testing right now on some different displays of that information. So based on that testing, we may end up with something more visible.
Yes, that would be great. You know, the emojis and stuff are fun. I'd like to put a little warning symbol when I have an unproven thing, so that somebody just happens to be looking at my tree and I'm, like you said, playing in the sandbox on a theory or something for one particular line. I'll put a little, like a little warning triangle in there, so that maybe people will actually pay attention and go look at my notes saying, hey, this is an unproven, or this is unverified, or whatever in the tree tag. So yes, that would be awesome to be able to have that. Okay, switching gears again, I want to talk about hinting. Okay, so these are the little leaves that we get on our ancestors' profiles and in the tree. I'm trying to figure out what kind of records are actually being delivered to those hints. So what criteria kind of goes in place when the algorithm's working? I know that not everything is going into a hint. So help me understand, help all of us understand, what is hinting to us on those?
Yeah, so it used to be really clear cut, and as technology advances rapidly, it gets a little bit fuzzier because we're constantly tweaking algorithms, right? But here's the general gist of it. Ancestry has 27 billion records on our site. We add an average of about 2 to 3 million new records a day. And that's a lot of data for people to have to sort through. So one of the purposes of hints is to catch some of that low-hanging, more obvious fruit from our huge data collection and apply it to your tree, or hint it to your tree. So the major collections, like the 1940 census and the New York passenger lists and the World War I draft cards, those things are really easy to have an algorithm read the index, look at your tree, and make a connection, because they have really rich data. They have names, dates, and places, and sometimes relationships. And so that makes it easy to deliver, not just to deliver a hint, but to deliver a more accurate hint.
Okay, so
yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say, for people who have been doing genealogy for a while, one of the things that we start to recognize really quickly is that genealogy records are not all created equal. Yes. And so some of them have limited information, and sometimes that information is wrong, and sometimes the name is spelled differently, or the year is off, or they're in an unexpected place. And so our hint algorithms are designed just to have a computer match, right? And that's what we call our primary hinting system. Then we have a secondary hinting system. So as soon as you've attached a record, our computers go out and look and see, is there any tree out there that's also attached this record? And what other records have they attached? And so other researchers are doing work that then we can feed back into the hint system so that you can get hints delivered based on the records that you're attaching to your tree.
So the hint records kind of, the hint algorithm is kind of saying, hey, that researcher over there pulled that record in, so you might want to take a look at that as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, thanks again, Crista. I will leave links in the description box to other episodes that have Crista in them, as well as on the screen for you now for your binge watching pleasure. Hey, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. And well, until next time, keep on climbing your family tree.